Under the direction of the Office of Policy and Management, Criminal Justice Policy and Planning Division, the Institute for Municipal and Regional Policy at Central Connecticut State University is working with the Connecticut Racial Profiling Prohibition Advisory Board to enhance the collection and analysis of traffic stop data in Connecticut. The purpose of this project is to monitor and prohibit racial profiling in Connecticut. In this video, we'll discuss how to properly collect information during a traffic stop. In 1999, the Connecticut General Assembly passed the Alvin W. Penn Racial Profiling Prohibition Act. This law prohibits any law enforcement agency from stopping, detaining, or searching any motorist when the stop is made solely by the consideration of race, color, ethnicity, age, gender, or sexual orientation. In 2013, the reporting requirements were changed and the law was expanded to include all agencies with the power to conduct a motor vehicle stop in Connecticut. Under Connecticut General Statute 54-1M, law enforcement agencies are required to collect information for each traffic stop, report that information electronically on a monthly basis, and officers must hand out a notice of motorist rights following the completion of each traffic stop. This law applies to municipal police departments, state police, and other special police agencies such as the State Capitol Police, the Motor Vehicle Department Inspectors, university police departments, and any other law enforcement agency with the authority to conduct a traffic stop. For the purposes of knowing when to collect traffic stop information, a traffic stop has been defined as any time an officer initiates contact with a vehicle that results in the detention of that vehicle. By law, data must be collected for all traffic stops unless an officer needs to leave the scene due to an exigent or emergency circumstances. For instance, if a law enforcement officer is called away from the scene of the stop due to an accident that happened in close proximity to the stop. Law enforcement officers must collect several pieces of information for each traffic stop, many of which are self-explanatory and others we will explain in more detail later today. Law enforcement officers must record the date and time of the stop, the nature of the stop, whether it's a motor vehicle violation, equipment violation, or the result of an investigation, the result of the stop being a verbal warning, a written warning, an infraction, a misdemeanor summons, or a uniform arrest report, whether the motorist was a resident of the municipality where they were stopped, and the duration of the stop. Law enforcement officers must record their perception of the driver's race, ethnicity, and gender based on the totality of the contact. Previous interpretations of the Alvin Penn Act asked law enforcement officers to record their perception of the driver prior to making the motor vehicle stop. In 2012, when the law was modified, we now ask law enforcement officers to record their perception of the driver based on the totality of the contact. By totality of the contact, you might make a perception of the driver prior to making the stop or after you approach the motor vehicle. When collecting this data, all officers must fill out the race, ethnicity, and gender categories for all stops. The officer must only enter the codes applicable to their corresponding categories. For race, the proper codes are W for white, B for black, I for Indian American or Alaskan Native, A for Asian Pacific Islander, or N for Native Hawaiian. The ethnicity of the driver should be recorded as H for Hispanic, M for Middle Eastern, or N for not applicable. Officers shall also record the gender of the motorist by entering M for male or F for female. Remember, officers are not to inquire a person's race, ethnicity, or gender. Law enforcement officers must record the geographic location of the stop. The recorded geographical location must be a number and a street, or a street and the closest cross street. For instance, I'm on Main Street. You shouldn't simply record Main Street, but rather a number such as 159 Main Street, or the street and the nearest cross street, such as Main Street and Court Street. Here are examples of what not to enter for geographical location. Parking lot, Main Street, I-84, Wendy's, near the pond. These examples are not detailed enough. Remember, the only geographical location information that should be recorded is a number in a street or the street and the nearest cross street. Under the enforcement category, officers will record whether the stop was a general stop, a blind stop, or part of a spot check. General enforcement will be coded as G. This is a stop that meets the basic traffic stop definition made through the officer's general enforcement techniques and not involving any special methods such as the use of radar and spot checks. For example, if law enforcement officers notice a vehicle driving with a faulty taillight and decides to pull them over. Blind enforcement will be coded as B. This is when a stop results from techniques that include the use of radar, laser, a license plate recognition device, or any other similar technology or method. This category also includes stops resulting from DUI sobriety checkpoints. Spot checks will be coded as S. This category includes stops made as the result of a spot check to detect violations for seatbelt use or the use of a cell phone. It excludes stops resulting from DUI checkpoints. During a spot check, traffic stop information only needs to be recorded when some action is taken. For example, if a motorist was given a written warning or an infraction ticket during a seatbelt check, the traffic stop information would need to be recorded. Traffic stop information must be completed during a DUI checkpoint only when the stop goes beyond the initial questioning of the driver or the pre-established pattern is broken. For example, if the department predetermines that every third driver will be questioned and the second car in the line is stopped and questioned. Officers must also record traffic stop information if a search is conducted. Officers must record the authority for the search as C for consent, I for inventory, or O for other. Other can be defined as a search as the result of a probable cause, reasonable suspicion, plain view contraband, an incident to an arrest, drug dog alert, or exigent circumstances. Officers are required to record the statutory reason for stopping a motor vehicle. For example, if a motorist was speeding, the officer should record the proper citations for speeding, such as 14-218 or 14-219. Please be as specific as possible. If the motorist is charged with a different citation than the initial statutory reason for stopping the motor vehicle, the officer will enter that information in this field. If there is more than one charge, the highest charge should be recorded. In order to be in compliance with the Alvin W. Penn Racial Profiling Act, law enforcement officers must hand each motorist stopped a 3x5 notice of their rights. The notice can be inserted into an envelope if one is provided as part of the stop. For example, the infraction envelope. The notice must be given to the motorist regardless of the outcome of the stop. For example, as the result of a verbal warning, written warning, infraction, misdemeanor summons, no disposition, or a uniform arrest. Complaints may be filed by the motorist stopped with the law enforcement agency that stopped them or the Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities. Each law enforcement agency has their own internal processes on handling complaints. For additional information, please visit our website at www.ctrp3.org.